We begin by hearing an old, wise-sounding voice. And we see a quiet, peaceful setting. This will make our game seem big and important. Now, something must break the serenity. Will this creature be in the game? No. Say goodbye to it forever.
Alright, first of all, The Outer Worlds 2 was revealed to be an Xbox exclusive, actually earlier this past summer. In addition to the update that the game is currently in development and hopefully coming out late 2022, which I don't really think is gonna happen, but check it out. The Outer Worlds, in case you are new to, is a sci-fi comedy-framed survival game, just like the old Fallout games, but other than that, details are still very little on the upcoming entry. Not to mention a release date and some gameplay for it is said to be coming our way later this year.
Because the developers haven't finished the design, or finished the story, or finished any gameplay that's actually ready to show. In fact, the only thing they have finished is the title.
They say, the wonder is, not that the field of stars is so vast, but that we have measured it.
Talking about anticipation, Bethesda's longest anticipated space exploration RPG, or simply the longest game in development going back to almost 20 years ago, Starfield, which is a Microsoft exclusive now, is set to have its gameplay footage released around June this year. The game itself is actually officially launching November 11, which I really find it hard to believe personally, but Bethesda even came out and said we can't wait to show you guys how Starfield actually looks like. So keep it in mind.
That's why we're here.
Main engines go. Ignition.
To discover what's out there.
Good luck, Constellation. You are go for launch.
Moving on, we have what is called Forever Skies. Actually announced no more than a couple of weeks back. It also came out of nowhere as what was touted as a survival game at its core. This game, though, was actually originally titled Project Oxygen, and as you can see, is a first-person player taking place on Earth and set after a global catastrophe. This game is expected to release in its early access phase sometime later this year.
Говорят, ты знаешь, где вход в фундамент.
Узнаешь мотив?
S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2, right now Heart of Chernobyl, is actually one of the top 3 biggest releases of this year of its own genre. Built using Unreal Engine 5 and a Microsoft exclusive, I'd have to say the only downside is that we're actually gonna have to wait until December this year. S.T.A.L.K.E.R has been in development for quite a while. It is actually right now one of the longest awaited AAA games in the making. Just in case you are new to, simply touted as an open world, first-person survival horror game. Check it out.
Да пошел ты.
Зря ты так с друзьями. Ты же его на вылазки таскаешь.
Чего-чего, а дружбы в зоне я точно не встречал.
Это верно.
Он мучился?
Нет.
Это хорошо. Он этого не заслужил.
А пулю заслужил. Жаль, что ты так с ним поступил.
Мне тоже. Считаешь, я не думал, как обойтись без его смерти? Она не могла быть свободна, пока он жил. Зато теперь посмотри на нее. Нет, Скиф, я не отдам ее никому. Зона дала мне жизнь, новую жизнь. Жизнь, которую я готов вернуть, если потребуется.
Moving on, there's Atomic Heart, for which release date is also still yet to be announced. However, we do know the game is in its final stages of development. Honestly, guys, I get the feeling like this game is already finished and only waiting for the right moment to come out. But it's just me. Atomic Heart, set in the Soviet Union, 7 years into the past, is a surrealistic first-person shooter about an alternative path in history. This is how this game actually looks like. It is also targeting both consoles in addition to PCs.
First of all, everyone in your squad is dead. You are alone now. The island is isolated by an anomaly.
Pioneer is a first-person shooter, a tiny bit on the unusual side of its own genre, per se, but a lot in the same vein as the aforementioned Atomic Heart, not to mention they're actually both being developed in Russia by Russian developers. Interestingly, this game was announced a few years ago, but it was only a few months back when we got our almost finished gameplay look at what's touted as an MMO shooter. Now check it out. This game is also due out sometime later this year.
But the handless storm that took our island into blockade still remains. Yes, the storm doesn't disappear to this day. As survivors, we have somehow adjusted to new ways. We have rebuilt fortifications, shelters. We continue to explore the island and still look for solutions and reasons. But there is always a lot of destruction and hatred among us. The island is inhabited by all sorts of scum. S.T.A.L.K.E.R are local freaks out of tribes. Brigadiers are, like former Soviet deserters. There are also all sorts of moronic fanatics, kinds of gangs, abnormal creatures, mutated animals, and some reals.
All was fulfilled, just as it was written. The last will be the first. It was all true. This is how it ended.
First, on the other hand, that will be the game's title, by the way, is a survival simulator set in a world after a global apocalypse. As you can see, not sure if there's a lot of people familiar with this one over here, but the game was announced with a single trailer precisely a year ago, in which you could see the protagonist and the four-legged companion, or also the only two survivors on Earth, must go through a journey of difficulties. Check it out. The game's got a Steam page and set to be coming to PCs only, with a release date yet to be announced.
He used his inventory and skills. His friend had his back all along. One thing is sure, they made it because they had each other's back.
To become the greatest human military force in history. Everyone's so busy fighting each other, they can't see who the real enemy is.
THQ Nordic also released a new trailer for the latest open-world action RPG game in the making, ELEX 2. Said it is now landing on the Xbox and the PlayStation consoles in addition to PCs March 1st this year. Well, this game is a sequel to the first ELEX game that came out like 4 years ago, and once again sees you return to the old post-apocalyptic sci-fi setting these developers are actually known for, where you all have to make it alive, one way or another. Check it out.
If only you had been a real father to Dex, none of this would have happened.
You'll never be part of a faction. You've got no loyalty to anyone but yourself.
Fuckers like you are dangerous. I'm keeping an eye on you.
Alb and outlaw scum to the north, berserkers and clerics to the west. Soon the heretics will atone for their sins.
So go out there. Convince them to fight with us against the Skyans. And do it before it's too late. Beast of S.T.A.L.K.E.R.
Don't call me that. It's ancient history. Even if I forget your crimes, I'll never forget the fact that you put my son in danger. Next could have died out there, and it would have been your fault.
There you go again. Blind. Walking the wrong path, and you don't even see it. Wake up, Jax!
We have Blind Descent, which is a multiplayer open-world survival game where up to 4 players can play together on the planet Mars 50 years into the future. Now, the game's premise is actually pretty interesting. It's just you and a few other people stuck in some sort of underground cave, and you gotta make your way up on the surface and survive, basically. Check it out. This game is officially due out early next year and into the PCs only. And last but not least, guys, we have Bunker Survival, which is kind of like the Metro games, where you'll have to scavenge stuff and find a way to live in a bunker. Though, good thing about this one is you can actually have hands-on the demo for the game on Steam right now, with the full game set to be coming out in only a few months from now. Check it out real quick.